formula using formula m into k into n. M is the number of clusters. Here one cluster is there. K into number of channels. Number of channels. How many channels are there? 80 channels are there in each cells. How many cells are there? 3 cells are there. So the C equal to m into k into n. So 1 into 3 into 80. So the capacity of the channel is given by 240. Okay, the capacity of the channel is 240. But then come to the cell splitting technique. In the cell splitting technique, in the same cluster, the 3 cells are again divided into 19 cells. Okay, the 3 cells are divided into 19 cells. So what happened? The new radius of the each cell, after cell splitting, the new radius of the each cell is 1/2 of the original radius. So after splitting, what is the channel capacity? Here, the channel capacity is increases. How much? By taking the formula MKN. What is a cluster? How many clusters are there? One cluster is there, right? How many cells are there? 19 cells are there. And in each cell, how many channels are there? Again, 80. So you have to find the channel capacity after cell splitting as 1 into 19 into 80. Then the new capacity is given by 1050, 1520. So before cell splitting, the channel capacity is 240, and after cell splitting, the channel capacity is 1520. So from the figures, what you can understand, so after cell splitting, it covers the entire area as compared to the before cell splitting. So in the figure, you can observe that in the before cell splitting, there is some area is there that is not covered by the antenna. But after cell splitting, what happened? After cell splitting, by seeing the second figure, after cell splitting, it covers the entire area as compared to the before cell splitting. So, and also the capacity of channel capacity is also increased from 240 to 1520. So the cell splitting concept, what it indicates that as the user is increases, the channel capacity is decreases, so that we have to go for the extra channels. So to provide the extra channel, we followed some techniques called cell splitting. In the cell splitting concept, we are splitting the congested cell into a smaller cells called cell splitting. So here we have two types of techniques are there in the cell splitting. One is called the permanent splitting, another is called the dynamic splitting. Okay, so permanent splitting is nothing but, so before the splitting of cell, everything near to the cell is taken into the account, and also it is planned before hand. Okay, such splitting technique is called the permanent cell splitting. Okay, so in the cell splitting, permanent cell splitting, once again repeating that before splitting the cell, everything around is taken into the consideration. It is well planned. Well planned splitting is there in the permanent splitting. But whereas in the dynamic splitting, it is more complicated than the permanent cell splitting. Okay, dynamic means it is changing. Permanent means static. Dynamic means it is changing. So that's why the dynamic splitting is complicated. Okay, so in the dynamic splitting, the utilization of the allocated spectrum in the real time has to be done efficiently. Okay, so these are the two techniques, cell splitting techniques we followed in the cellular communication. Okay. Any doubts in the cell splitting concept? Any doubt? Otherwise, I'll go with the next concept called the consideration of the components of cellular system. So already you know that the basic cellular system consisting a mobile unit and the cell site and the central switching element called MTSO, mobile telephone switching office, and some antennas you required. So these are the consideration we have to consider in the components list of the cellular system. So here you already know that what the MTSO does. What MTSO